Hello, this is Dr. Jarrod Bagley, and welcome to this month's Interview with an Expert. This month's topic of focus is the immune system, or true immunity. And I couldn't think of a better person to interview on this topic than my good friend and colleague, Dr. Joe Esposito. Welcome, Dr. Joe, and thank you for joining us. Dr. Joe is the CEO of Align Life Chiropractic and Natural Health Centers. He's also the CEO and founder of Asiva Nutraceuticals. Dr. Joe is a chiropractor. He's a naturopath. He's a nutritionist. He's one of my greatest resources. He's an expert on the topic of immunity. And so we are very honored to have you here with us and share your knowledge with us, with myself, my patients, our community. The first question I have for you is probably the biggest one and the most popular topic that I get asked about during this time of year, especially with our patients being pressured from their children's schools and their employers to get the flu vaccine. Does the flu vaccine protect us from the flu?
The thing I'll say right off the bat is we don't make any decision with patients or parents of what should you do or what should you not do. What we want to do is inform and give as much data as we can so you make the best decision for you and your family. Some of the concerns that we have with the flu vaccine is it even the right strain of the flu? So that's probably the biggest concern. And the current research is around 10% chance that the strain in the flu is the right strain that's circulating around in the country. Because the flu itself vaccine is created about 18 months, around 18 to 24 months before the flu season starts. So they're looking at trends of what it can be. But here's the main issue, is that the flu vaccine is cultured in chicken embryos. And during that culturing in the embryo, the virus mutates. So even if you have the right strain where you think we're going to nail the right one to have it ready for the public, it's the head of the virus, the protein is actually mutating while it's actually culturing. And that's where they lose their edge of like, we can't get the right strain ready in time for the flu season. And the second question is some of the additives. Yes, they talk about formaldehyde. And their clarity, it's not a scare tactic. There's not a lot of formaldehyde in there. There's actually formaldehyde in fruits and things like that. So it's not the biggest scare tactic. Right. But there's no one that's going to be able to convince me that any level of mercury put in the body is safe by any regard. According to CDC or any other organization, federal government or research organization will not give you an allocation. They'll give you an allocation of how much you can have of styrene, plastic in your body per day. They'll give you an allocation of all these things, but they'll never give a safe amount of mercury in the human body. Mercury is not something that should be put in the body, and that's in the vaccine. So there you have like a risk-benefit ratio. If it's not the right strain, that's one issue. If we're adding mercury into the human body, which drops a component called glutathione, which is actually a nutrient, an antioxidant that protects your central nervous system. And when you lower that, you're weakening the nervous system, which directly affects the immune system. Right. They used to think chiropractic was talking about nerves affecting the immune system in the 50s, and that was considered quackery. Right. Now in 2018, there's actually a branch of medicine called neuroimmunology, which is a branch that has defined that the immune system is regulated by the nervous system. So chiropractic 50 years ago was right on target. Get your spine checked, maximize nerve function, get the right nutrients your body and your nerves need to heal, and keep your immune system as high as possible. I know that was long-winded, Doc, but
that was great. That was perfect. That's a perfect answer. It's right along the lines of the blog post that we created and one of the videos that I created earlier, talking about the significance and the relationship between the sympathetic nervous system and the immune system. So that hits right along with what we were talking about. So I appreciate that answer. That's great. And I have to assume that your kids aren't getting the flu vaccine then, are they?
They've never had a vaccine, no.
Before. Might as well. And you know, that's our choice, but you're right. I mean, it's It's about educating the patient, educating the individual, and allowing them to make the decision that's best for their family. I agree with that completely. Excellent. All right, next question. Thank you so much, Joe. The next question. This is another common one that we have, especially during this time of year, when stress levels get higher around the holidays, and talk about, if you will, what impact or what relationship does stress have on the immune system?
Great question. Stress, and I'm going to use a little prop here to help you.
Sure.
It has an inverse relationship. So I have very high-end props here. I don't know if you can see. It's going to be backwards, right? Yeah, so that won't work. But they're inverse. So I'm going to I won't show the words, but this would be stress. This would be the immune system. When stress goes up, the immune system goes down. When stress goes down, stress hormone. Right. So when the hormone that's secreted, you need stress hormone to be alive. Okay, so let's just put a framework here.
Sure.
The stress hormone is called cortisol. You need it to stay alive. After 72 hours of no stress hormone, you will die. So your body will do anything it can to make sure it has enough stress hormone. The issue occurs with two things. Mental stress. We have about 100 times the stress our grandparents had. Okay, from the phones to finance to work to all the things that we're attached to every single day. Our stress is 100 times our grandparents, our mental stress. On top of that, sugar causes an imbalance of stress hormone. Right. And we consume per person, about 3 pounds of sugar a month. So we got two things against us. So the issue occurs when stress goes up high, it crashes the immune system. Okay? Now, when we have stress high for so long, the body can't sustain it. So what does it do? We burn out our adrenal gland, and then the stress hormone goes too low. What happens to the immune system? It goes too high. That's autoimmune diseases. So when you have autoimmune diseases, you have to look at stress hormone, because if your stress hormone's burnt out, when it's high, that's when you're Superman or Superwoman. You're a mom that's sleeping 3 hours a day, taking care of the kids, running like crazy, but you still got the energy. You're still resilient. You're a powerhouse. You're the attorney. You're the entrepreneur, and you are rocking it out all the way up here. Eventually, what happens, Mom? You're depressed, tired, anxiety, gaining weight, can't sleep. The attorney, doctor, entrepreneur, same thing. Got to have coffee, caffeine, and sugar in the midday, antidepressants in the morning, sleeping pills at night, right? That's the American way. So what we got to do is regulate the stress and keep it working in the middle. So when your stress is too high during final exams, death in the family, what happens? People get sick. Why? It crashes the immune system. And when the immune system, the stress hormone goes too low, the immune system goes too high, your immune system becomes paranoid. And I think that's one of your next topics you want to talk about. Paranoid immune system creates autoimmune diseases. So hopefully you like my props there, Doc.
Oh, that's excellent. That's excellent. High-end props too, by the way. Now to expand on that, with the increased stress levels during the holiday season, do you think this plays an impact on what they've considered as, or what they've seasonalized as the flu season or the sick season, so to speak?
100%, yes, 100%. And people get more sick. There's more heart attacks during that time. All of this is due to our secretion of excess stress hormone.
Excellent, excellent. Thank you for expanding on that, Doc.
You're welcome.
What role does your gut play in immunity?
The gut plays a very, very big role. Probably a primary role, next to simple things like making sure we have water and making sure we have oxygen and whatnot. You got to have a good functioning gut. Most all diseases begin in the gut. If it's not a neurological problem with a faulty or dysfunctioning spine causing impingement to nerves, that I know you are an expert in that field. In addition to that, we're looking at this being a major issue, the gut. And here's the issue. Your gut is amazing. It's lined with cells. Think of it like a screen door. You have a screen door with holes in it, and you want to keep the flies out. The flies are going through that screen door because there's holes in it. Now you got flies in the house. People are getting sick. There's flies and germs and stuff in the home. The same thing happens with the gut. So back to my props. The gut is lined with cells. So if these are your cells of your gut, above, up here, would be your gut. This is where all the food is.
Right.
Below is your bloodstream.
Okay.
The food's got to be broken down, and it's got to go through these cells, and it's got to get into the blood so we can take the nutrients to your brain and your eyes and your tissue. When your gut, when you don't have the right bacteria, so on top of these cells, there are little bacteria living on the cells. Here's the cool thing. That bacteria eats your fiber. You can't digest fiber. The bacteria that's living on the cells of your gut eat your fiber, and the the byproduct of them eating your fiber, kind of silly, them going to the bathroom where their byproduct is the food that feeds these cells. So what happens if you don't have that bacteria? Take an antibiotic and wipe all that out. What happens if you don't eat fiber? Guess what happens? You have that, the wall, well, this happens. You lose it. Now you got a big hole. Now the fly's going to go through the screen door. Right. Now you're going to have food undigested, milk proteins or wheat proteins or something else going through that big hole, and your body's going to look at that and say, what the heck is this large thing floating in my bloodstream? We got to kill this thing. It must be a disease. And it attacks the milk and the wheat and the corn and all these things, and that's the creation of food allergies. It's the beginning stage of autoimmune diseases. So to heal the gut, to keep these junctions tight, you got to have good bacteria. Mm-hmm. Antibiotics will kill bacteria, and you have more bacteria in your body than cells of your body. It's about 5 pounds of bacteria from your mouth all the way down through your system. You have more bacteria in weight than the weight of your own liver. Wow. It's a lot of bacteria, guys. So 1 round of antibiotic will damage it for a minimum of 6 months. With no probiotics, it could take years of damage. So don't underestimate probiotics, which is the bacteria. And then you got to eat the fiber, guys, fruits and vegetables, to feed your bacteria.
Excellent. Excellent. So with this, it seems like we get a lot more complaints of celiac and leaky gut, and this is definitely obviously affecting the immune system, and it always has an impact on the patient's health, obviously. Now, talk to me about going into the autoimmune question. This is kind of what I wanted to wrap everything up with. You've kind of led to this question throughout each question. We've seen an increase in prevalence in autoimmune disorders, and it seems like a large percentage of our patients are coming in with these autoimmune disorders, and automatically they consider themselves labeled as broke, or they're going to have to take whatever prescribed medication or pharmaceutical to deal with this autoimmune disorder. Talk to me about how this all ties in, and why this increase in stress and these unhealthy diets are leading to more autoimmune disorders.
As you said, I think this summarizes everything we talked about, because autoimmune just means your immune system is attacking itself. So your immune system is paranoid. It's kind of like an army it's too strong, it overtakes the government. It's paranoid. It's shooting its own tissue. So you have immune cells that are attacking its own tissue. How does that happen? Well, the earliest stage of that happening starts with vaccinations. You vaccinate a child at an early age, it has an innate shift of the immune system to paranoid. You'll have more asthma and allergies. Secondary, antibiotics. Why? Because it does what I just said. Exactly. Wears out the bacteria. It kills the bacteria. It causes holes in the gut lining, like I told you. I said flies going through a screen door. Well, it's undigested foods going in your body. Your body immune system starts attacking food. Then it starts attacking your thyroid. Then it starts attacking your joints. Then it starts attacking other things, starting with holes in the gut lining. So it all ties together. So in the beginning of life, we got to make sure we be careful of the shift that happens, because unfortunately that could be a lifelong shift that you're struggling with the rest of your life, eliminating foods, having to watch all these different things because we caused a shift to a hyper-responsive or a paranoid immune system. So yes, it's the antibiotics, the vaccines, and it's the poor diet. And we explained why, because without fiber, we can't feed the bacteria that actually feed our gut lining. It's a really beautiful symbiotic relationship if you understand how that all works. Fiber feeds bacteria, the bacteria feeds our own cells, everyone's happy. So autoimmune diseases dealt with in a conventional manner, unfortunately, it's just taking anti-inflammatory drugs that have real harsh effects on liver hormone makeup and whatnot, and it leads to a very strong reduction in your level of health as you subside some symptoms, but you degrade as a person over time. It's not really a healthy outcome.
Right.
So I think between chiropractic and gut function, it's a great way of managing that.
Absolutely. I mean, you talked about the gut and everything, how that plays a role in it, and then when you add in the sympathetic dominant overload due to this additional stress, I mean, that seems like a perfect cocktail of what it takes to make an autoimmune disorder. Now, with that being said, though, Joe, what is your opinion on reversing or improving autoimmune disorders? Is it possible, or is it something that they're just stuck with?
My opinion is they're always going to have more of a paranoid immune system, a little more sensitive than the average person, because innately the immune system can shift, unfortunately, and it can shift very young in age. Mm. So, but it's not something that you can't manage. If we clean the gut, if we rebuild the lining of the gut, if we enhance neurological function, I love what you're saying. If the patient understands the difference between parasympathetic and sympathetic nervous system, they got the battle half won. Understanding how to regulate those immune system, the nervous system, I think is amazing. And then when we talked about cortisol, understanding mental stress, take life with a grain of salt, laugh more, take deep breathing, meditate, take a nap in the middle of the day, listen to music, go for a jog, do things to rejuvenate yourself. We don't have to be burning the candle at both ends all the time, because that mental stress is going to cause damage. Right. And the food. Let's cut our sugar down. Let's just do those basic things. Get your spine checked. Cut your sugar. Number 2. Number 3, keep the gut healthy. Take the probiotics. And autoimmune diseases will have a massive change.
Awesome. Well, Joe, I appreciate it. Dr. Esposito, excuse me. Thank you so much again for your time. This was an awesome experience for both myself as well as the patients. And as you guys know, we're committed to delivering quality content on a monthly basis. We're gonna sit down with the experts and each of the topics that we're focusing on that month, and just deliver great content. Some of the questions that you guys are asking me, I want to cut out the middleman and basically just provide you straight from the mouth of these experts what it is and their opinions and based on their research and findings. So again, Joe, thanks a lot. Thank you again for all your time. And just wanted to tell you guys out there, I love you. God bless, and here's to a stronger you.
Thanks, Jarrod. I appreciate your time, and thanks for all the hard work you're doing in your community and helping the patients reach an optimal state of health. I honor you and what you're doing in your area. Great work.
Thank you, Joe. I appreciate it.